What she said?
What she said from where?
Last one. Last question.
Last question was okay. So, I mean, what I mean, basically, if we look at the state of blockchain right now, the people who are in it, in the blockchain technology, they're not exactly the kind of people that you expect to work in the inside the big companies to make their supply chain transparent. They're more or less anarchists trying to decentralize everything. That's what blockchain is all about. That's why it started. That's what the foundation and how it has been applied to the Bitcoin. Decentralize everything, take out the central banks, take out the governments, if you will, create more or less financial anarchy. So that is what drives a lot of people in this industry. So how do you see that evolving? She says, well, okay, well, yeah, I do see that evolving. I do see that this blockchain technology is way too powerful to just leave it in the hands of the anarchists. It can be applied, and we see that changing already rapidly. And the new ways that the blockchain will evolve will actually be in support of creating this kind of transparency. So, as far as I can see, this blockchain, which is the foundation of her product, will have a future.
Okay.
But I really think that
But actually, what she's doing?
basically, so the slide I just showed is basically what they are making, what that company is making, and she's the founder of that company. So what they are making is those layers that make that that show the transparency in the supply chain. So they're using blockchain technology as an information layer, and they put layers on top of that, which will make it easy for other players in the supply chain to
Actually, she's implementing blockchain.
Right, it's kind of implementation to put the information on top of it. It makes it possible for you and me when we buy a product using the provenance. The provenance software we can see and on our smartphone and use our QR code and basically see, okay, where did this product come from, who caught this fish, how was it transported.
So she's implementing for specific manufacturing company
for supply chains.
Supply chain.
Yeah.
So some certain supply chain.
Yes.
Some industry.
Yes.
Some area.
Yes. And what she was talking about, the fish, is an example where basically provenance was helping fishermen in Indonesia who were who doing a responsible way of fishing, to make sure that the fish would be sold as a premium brand all over the world. So they needed to make sure that it was transparent, that people could actually see that the fish that was caught in a responsible way, and it was high quality fish.
Same type of business here in Japan.
I didn't find this kind of business in Japan. I would be very delighted to get this started. I think there is a lot of like, for example, in agriculture. Kimoto-san, are you listening? For example, in agriculture, where in Japan there is we take very close care of the quality of the products that we're producing. Now, made in Japan means something, but it doesn't mean everything. Especially if in other places in the world people are capable of creating this transparency. I think in Japan we should be very, very quick to actually open up to create this transparency, and to actually show what we are doing and why people should trust our products. If we cannot do that quickly, then others will be able to do that. Then why would we trust Japan? Because we say so. We need to be able to trust it. So to help the farmers, I think we need to actually very seriously look at how we can use this blockchain technology with the additional layer on top of it to create transparency, not only in Japan but also outside of Japan.
Okay.
Speaking of Japan, let's move on. So we already saw this. I would basically like to close off what we saw, the video, the third industrial revolution, the trends that we saw, and actually now focus on Japan. So what we saw in the third industrial revolution is that basically we will see a new technological platform emerge that will change the way that we communicate, the way that we move, and the way that we fuel our economy. So that will have a big impact. We saw how that is being taken up in Germany already, and how Germany and the EU is trying to become a leader in this, to basically move into this third industrial revolution platform with renewable energy and electrical vehicles, and with the IoT, the Internet of Things, basically becoming the new platform that drives countries in the new era, with a lot of industries that will be characterized with a zero marginal cost, or almost zero, close to zero marginal costs, will become highly competitive on a global scale. That means that basically if countries, if economies do not catch up and stay stuck in the second industrial revolution, and on the second industrial revolution platform, they will have a competitive disadvantage versus economies that could actually move towards the third industrial revolution platform. So then the question is, okay, what will happen? What is happening in Japan? And what needs to happen in Japan, and what effect will this third industrial revolution have on the society in Japan? And this section is partly based on some research that I did, and partly based on some assumptions that I'm making, and I would like to throw the ball also to you, Takai-san and Uno-san, to discuss what your opinion is. Because this is very much also my personal interpretation of what may happen, and what is happening, and I think this is a very interesting part of this series. So the issues for Japan, I identified 5 issues. Okay, the first question is, okay, are we behind? Is Japan actually behind? When it comes to the third industrial revolution, when it comes to new technologies, what is the situation at the moment in Japan? Are we really behind the United States? Are we really behind Europe? Are we really behind China? That's question number 1. Then number 2, what will happen with GDP? Will this third industrial revolution, will this new technology that we're seeing, IoT, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, will this actually lead to an increase in GDP, or will it actually not have any impact or even decrease our GDP? The third issue, what will be the effect of this new technology for employment and income distribution? Fourth issue, looking at renewable energy in Japan. How far are we? How serious are we? And what are the prospects for renewable energy in Japan? And finally, what will be the impact on Japanese society? Okay, so first, are we behind? And I took 2 examples. To see, okay, is Japan actually behind versus the rest of the world? So I took this article, and it's an incident, but I think it's a significant example. Uber self-driving test car involved in an accident resulting in a pedestrian death. This is an article, and I think you've all seen it, that Uber is testing with not in not so densely populated areas with driverless vehicles, and this was a deadly accident in Arizona, where a Uber driverless car hit a woman, and she died of the consequence of that car crash. And I believe actually last week there was another accident involving a Tesla, a lethal accident involving a Tesla. So we've seen Uber, we've seen Tesla, and we've seen lethal accidents.
What kind of accident did they have?
They hit a.
Why they hit people?
Well, according to this article,
What is it?
the Uber SUV was driving northbound, and a woman crossed in the path outside of the crosswalk. At which point she was struck by the vehicle. So she didn't cross at the crosswalk, and for that reason, she crossed the street outside the crosswalk, and for some reason the car, the Uber, did not anticipate the pedestrian to cross there, and as a result she was hit and died. So that has a serious impact. Of course, this was an incident that was about to happen, because I don't think that anybody believed that this would go 100% without any accidents. But this was the accident that happened. I don't know exactly what happened in the Tesla case. I know that the security guy, or the head of the driverless vehicle division, resigned last week. But I'm not 100% sure of the nature of the accident that happened with the Tesla. So, in a comment, an expert in the industry said, "I don't think there are significant differences in the state of autonomous car development between Japan and the United States, but each has a different attitude on how to realize their vision."
Yeah, exactly.
While American firms have been grabbing the headlines, Japanese firms have been making steady progress behind the scenes. The fact that they have been less anxious to promote the progress outside of Japan is more a reflection of the go-to-market strategy than that the state of the underlying technology. Japan's elderly people cause more traffic accidents. They are an important part of the demand for autonomous vehicles. Companies naturally place a great importance on demonstrating safety and reliability. In the US, however, the target market is younger and more concerned with convenience and innovation. So what is said here is that according to experts, it is actually more. It's not really the change, the difference between the progress that the United States is making in terms of developing the new autonomous driver technology. It's more or less the more conservative nature of the Japanese market and the Japanese demand and the Japanese makers that put more emphasis on testing and safety than the American market, where they are targeting more the young drivers who look for convenient solutions, or look for quick, new, exciting technology, which cause that we have the perception that the United States is way ahead of Japan. But the truth of the matter is that it's not really so. It's just a difference in attitude of companies and consumers.
I mean, America is more eager to implement.
Yes, to be ahead, to be an early adopter, to make this test live. There's a lot of pressure on these makers to do this, because shareholders have invested huge sums of money. They want to see results. They want to get a quick payout on their investment. So they don't want to spend limitless time testing without actually doing live testing. So they want to make it visible as quickly as they can. That's how they can drive more investment. How they make the technology better. So there is actually a premium a premium that companies get in order to move fast. Where in Japan, we are more conservative, but it doesn't mean that the technology is necessarily worse than. We're actually.
Oh my God! I'm in the screen. Here.
Oh.
Okay. I thought out of screen.
So it's more of a different attitude towards safety than it is a difference in technology. How about renewable energy? This is just a graph that I found in a report, an annual report on who is doing what in terms of renewable energy globally. And it's a report of 2016. It's a report from early 2017. And if you look at in terms of jobs, how many jobs are have been created in renewable energy sector on a national level, then we see that China is actually leading the pack here. So this is on the left hand side, where we see here are the renewable energy sources, and then we see for the different countries how much employment has been created in these fields. So and these are the totals here. So if we look at the number of jobs, then we see that, for example, not surprisingly, China has created a lot of jobs already in renewable energy. They're very serious about it. So these are in thousands of jobs. So there are 3.5 million people already working in the renewable energy sector in China, which is almost half of the total employment worldwide. So that's really big. That's really big, and we see that.
Why China is so much advanced, considering renewable energy? Why China is advancing?
Well, because they don't have a lot of fossil fuels. Neither does Japan, I know. But China is much easier to basically say, okay, we're going to do this. Well, if they say they're going to do it, they're going to do it, and they're going to do it fast.
はい、皆さんこんにちは、雲野です。今日はですね、雲野塾の研修のプログラムをご紹介したいと思います。で、こういうふうなホームページありますけれども、ぜひですね、一度中身をご覧になっていただきたいと思います。今日はブーキューブさんのスタジオに来て、この収録をしておりますので、中身はこういうふうになってて、今最近ホットなね、グローバルリーダーの定義など書いてあります。で、特に経団連が作成しました留学すれば英語ができて専門性を持つというだけではですね、グローバルリーダーになれないとここに書いてありますようにですね、仕事ができる、専門性を持つ、英語ができるだけじゃなくてですね、私どもの塾ではリベラルアーツということ、それからもう一つは孫子の兵法、さらにはですね、日本の歴史というものを合わせて教えることによって皆さんが海外の欧米の方々と、もしくは華僑圏の方々と正々堂々と渡り合えるような人物を育成しようというふうなことを考えています。ここに次のスライドが出ておりますけれども、ここに書いてありますのはですね、さらに、私どもの雲野塾の中身につきましてはですね、欧米の資料しか使っておりません。また、 実際に雲野塾は英語でやっておりますので、英語の講師が話しておりますけど、学習はですね、日本の歴史をまだ教えてますので、学習の午後はですね、日本のプログラムをしております。で以前はこれ有料だったので、今はですね、実際に会場費も取っていただいておりませんで、毎回5000円ということで、朝9時から午後5時までやっておりますので、ぜひ皆さんですね、ご検討の上ご参加いただければと。英語のできない方もですね、学習の午後こういうふうな検証をしておりますので、ぜひご参加いただければというふうに思っておりますので、よろしくお願いします。でここにさらにですね、グループ討議とか実務の勘どころを教えると書いてありますけど、実際には私が10年ほどですね、欧米の新聞とか雑誌等をですね集めてきた、もともと英語のベースでございますので、そうしたものをですね50セッションのテーマに分けて資料作成しております。そういうことで、世界のオペレーションもしくはカントリーリスクも含めてですね、しかも世界のトップの方々に対してもいろいろな分析とか洞察をしてですね議論しております。そういったことも含めてですね、今後ともよろしくお願いしたいと思います。以上で私の挨拶を終えますが、今回のこのビデオの収録にあたってはですね、V キブさんのスタジオをお借りしてですね、お時間を頂戴して、このビデオを作成させていただきました。よろしくお願いします。どうもありがとうございました。